Greetings and salutations and welcome to Illegitimate Legends, the show where I like to talk about some unusual League of Legends builds. Today we are taking a look at an AP Rammus build. Rammus, as you know, is traditionally a tank and as such plays one of the more supporting type of roles. You don't really want to be doing a lot yourself, and this build is very similar. Despite the fact that it's all about AP and thus all about dealing damage, you don't have consistent damage output, so you simply cannot kill on your own. You have to be in a duo lane with a partner, preferably someone who's got a lot of damage potential on their own. If they don't need the gold, that's fine, you can farm yourself, but you may find that you need to act as the support, act support bottom lane, not take any of the minion kills if you can avoid it. Which does leave you very, very low on gold. That note aside, this is a very dangerous build. It has its weaknesses, it has its strengths. The strengths are, of course, that Rammus is kinda baller, he's got an amazing taunt, and more importantly, Powerball. Powerball has a 1-to-1 ability power ratio, which they're some of my favorite things in the world. 1-to-1 ability power ratios mean that you can get a lot of damage, just stacks of it. Now, yeah, there are more powerful abilities in the game, but if you Powerball into someone for 600 damage, no matter who they are, they're not going to like it. More importantly, Powerball also has a slight knockback, it's got a tiny knock up, and can interrupt, well, essentially any trick that they're trying to pull at you. Unless, of course, it's instantaneous, say, a Malzahar ultimate, but you can very effectively disrupt the enemy team with a combination of Powerball and your ultimate. Ball Curl makes up for some of your lost resistances, some magic defense, magic resist, and armor, but in the end the ability is rendered largely useless due to the lack of return damage, seeing as that has an armor ratio on it. So there's one of the weaknesses there. The last point, the last major strength of Rammus is his ultimate. It deals with half an item build, approximately 300 damage per check. That's of course before magic resistance get involved, but it's got about a 1/4, 1/3 sort of ability power ratio. I've seen stronger moves, but considering the duration of the ultimate and the frequency of the checks, not to mention the AoE, it's very, very powerful. It also damages towers. So you can roll next to a tower and destroy that thing, simply because the tower will take damage from your ability. It's one of the few abilities in the game that deals damage to towers directly. In fact, I suggest it's the only one, excluding moves such as Empowered Strikes. Yeah, I've got all different classifications for abilities, but we don't really need to go into that. This build is all about disrupting. You don't have the tankiness to do a lot of what you want to, and in the end you can really play this build two ways, and I did try them both. You can either try and support your team by repeatedly rolling in and disrupting and taunting a key member of the enemy team, locking them down so that they can be beat up while you deal as much damage as you can. Then retreating out of the fight and rolling in to repeat the process. Because your cooldowns are very long, you can't really stay in the middle of a fight not doing anything, can you? Because what are you going to achieve? So you might as well just repeatedly re-enter the fight with as soon as your abilities are ready to be used again. Which works really, really well. The other method is more or less, it depends, it relies on similar tactics, but it depends on how the enemy team is placed. If they're all prepped for a team fight, if there's 5 of them in a close cluster, you roll straight in there, you initiate that team fight. When your team's ready, of course. Don't be suicidal. Roll in there, initiate that team fight. It will be a suicide run. You will be dropped very, very quickly. But the roll in, really, really good damage. Your ultimate, also really good damage. You get a Zhonya's Hourglass so that you can survive for the full duration of the ultimate. You can mess up their team while your guys come in and clean up. Like I said, it's a one-way trip and there's almost no glory in it. You're unlikely to get a kill. You'll get a stack of assists, but your team won't really see the numbers and go, that's an impressive score. They'll see the numbers and go, that guy kinda fed a little. Not really, because, let's be honest, you didn't. If you win your team a team fight, that's not feeding. It's an option. It's not a glorified position, but you can take it. As for item build, I start with a Cage's Lucky Pick, which is going to be built into Deathfire Grasp. Then I get the boots. I go for Boots of Swiftness, because catching up to enemies for that taunt is all important. Then a Rod of Ages. Health and ability power is what we really want here, because you want to be durable as well as powerful. Then on into Riley's Crystal Scepter for the powerful AoE slow on your ultimate and additional slow for Power Ball. Not to mention, if they attack you while you're ball curled, there's a slow there as well. Just slow all over the place, as well as the base stats of Riley's. Then get a Zhonya's, and finish up with a good old-fashioned Death Cap to bring that extra power in. Finish your Deathfire Grasp to try and add an extra ability, an extra way of dealing damage into the game. That's it. That's your item build. That is Super Mega AP Rammus. Armadillo Power. Thank you and good night.
Super Giga Mega Rammus, Super Giga Mega Rammus, Super Giga Mega Rammus, Armadillo Power.